Obsession experienced in nervous illness may be very disturbing. It may be repeated compulsive thought or action, and it develops from no more than brain fag in a sensitized body. After a student has worked for 3 or 4 hours, he may feel suddenly mentally tired, as if he cannot pack in another word, though he may rest until his mind is refreshed. A nervously ill person is a particular kind of student. He has been studying himself constantly for weeks, months, even years, and he rarely pauses to rest his mind. So he may be suffering from chronic brain fag without knowing it.
If you are prone to obsessions and compulsions, maybe you struggled or are struggling with existential OCD. You might be like, what is that? That is when you get so philosophical, but not from a point of interest, but a point of fear. So my favorite little affirmation here is, you don't have to be afraid. You can be curious. I'm so sorry if you're going through this, because it makes everything seem very abstract, and it kind of takes away the purpose of your life, and you're just questioning everything. And it's not the same as it is somewhat an existential crisis, but this is from like an obsessive compulsive type of perspective, which is horrible. Because you wake up in the morning and the first thing you think about is, what's the point though? What's the point though? What's the point though? I talk about existential OCD in more detail in my video, Don't Call Me Crazy. So if you want something to relate to, then just check that part out. I remember sitting there thinking, this is so pointless. I don't get why anyone does anything. Almost like infected in this like existential OCD, thinking, what's the point? Like, why is everyone doing this? I don't get it. My best tips if you struggle with existential OCD, and I'm so sorry because I know it might be a compulsion, but you need to stop searching for answers, and you need to stop thinking about it, and you need to stop ruminating about death. But I can't stop. It's a freaking obsession. Yes, but just know that your brain is making nonsense right now. You will not be able to use your cognition correctly. Like, you would just like, you know when you're really, really worried and you think about something and it's just like, it feels like this huge unsolvable problem and you don't know where to start, and then you just relax for a bit and you get it kind of in a distance. You know how people say just sleep on it, and then you're like, oh, actually it isn't that bad. And that's the same with anxiety, because you are so tense and you're feeling so much fear when you ask yourself these questions that your cognition is off. So if you think you've figured something out that nobody else knows, no, don't worry. Like, what you're thinking is not true. You just can't see clearly right now. It's like this filter has been put on and you think that it is all true and that maybe everything is pointless, and maybe you're just like so self-aware of your own awareness and all that. But remember that you are extremely tense and sensitized, and when we have a lot of anxiety, we are not logical, and it's just best to not think about it right now. And if you're having depersonalization and derealization at the same time, then okay, you can deal with these questions, but you have to wait. Like, do not take whatever you're thinking now seriously. Don't take it seriously. It is absolutely horrific, and you get like this, like, it feels like your stomach is going like, and it's horrible, and you might feel so alienated from the rest of the world, and the compulsions and obsessions are just going, and there's no peace in the day. But at least know that you are not making sense right now. Your brain is not making sense of anything. So if you can just kind of let it go and tell yourself like, I will deal with this, but I have to wait until I'm at a point where I can like think clearly. And you might be like, but when would I know? But you can feel it. It's like, oh wow, oh, it's like I can think. Wow. So, and don't worry, you won't deal with it forever, and you'll not figure out the great truth. It might leave you depressed, so take care of yourself in the ways they tell you to take care of yourself. When it comes to somatic OCD, some people tell you to do inwards exposure. For me, that was a horrible idea. Like, I'm not going to do that again. When it comes to somatic OCD, I think it's better to practice mindfulness. Oh, and please don't click off this video yet, because I'm not finished. First of all, if your OCD is telling you this is going to be forever, you're always going to think about your breath, just know it isn't true. It will pass. And I know it's so freaking, it's like torture. It's like a mental freaking torture chamber, but it will pass. And the best like active thing you can do is to practice every day. For 5 minutes, you're like, now I'm not going to move. And then you put on a timer and then you sit still and you observe whatever's happening in your body, whatever itch and whatever sensation. And if you feel tired in your eyes and you don't do anything about it, you just observe it. You're just like, oh, when I sit still now, I can feel my throat closing. Okay. And my shoulder is tired. Okay. And you do that and it will teach you how to just be the observer and don't try to change everything all the time. And that's for all that type of anxiety. Your best shot at recovery is acceptance.